Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with another tutorial. We're going to be using an envelope again. I love using envelopes. They're so versatile, and everything that you see me do here you could actually do with recycled envelopes, junk mail envelopes and such. The junk mail envelopes might be a little bit iffy because of the strength needed to hold some of these pieces together, but you could definitely experiment with that. So let me show you the prototype. So this is this isn't the first one. So I created one exactly like this, but when I put the papers on each side, one was upside down, and so I had to you can't come back from that. So so this is the one I did. So it's going to be an envelope that's going to be sewn into a signature. So this is where it would be sewn into the signature. I love using envelopes like this. I usually put one kind of altered envelope type of project in every signature in my journal. So I'll be doing that for the Sweet Yvonne journal, but I thought I'd show you how I created this piece with a hidden journaling spot. So this is the front side, or whichever way you want to look at it. This is the back side. Look at those images. These are, I can't remember, I think this one's Angela Kerr Designs, and this is Rach and Bella Crafts. If I remember correctly, I'm going to be participating in the collaboration using these beautiful kits from both creators, and that'll be coming up in mid-March to mid-April. So I believe the first video goes up on the 15th, which I think is tomorrow, Friday, as of the time I'm filming this video. So I thought I'd play with the papers because they're absolutely stunning. Look at that. I think I'm going to make a journal with these papers, but it's going to be a slow go. I'm going to just kind of meander my way through it. I love yellow. It's my favorite color. The images are absolutely delightful. They just make me smile. So what I did is I created, so typically when I do a hidden journaling spot, it's either through the top or it's secure in the side of a piece of paper. Now, the way that I constructed this one, I found that it was really loosey-goosey. So let me show you the mechanism here, and then I'll explain. So, so this pulls out, and you have your writing space, so you can write on both sides. I do this all the time. I love it. I know a lot of creators do love these hidden journaling spots. But what I noticed is, see how loose it is? Like it could literally fall out. So I decided to go ahead and use a paper clip, and I just covered it with some paper. I call this a masked paper clip, and just covered the front and back so it's not, so it's prettier. So that slides out, but in addition, I didn't want it to only have that spot for fun things. So I also made a pocket here. So we've got a couple of, I think I've just got one thing in here for now, so just a journaling card. And then, so this goes all the way through. So this goes all the way through, okay, and you can see the inside of the envelope here, which doesn't matter. But when you slide this in to place, you still can slide this in here. So it's also seamless there, which I really love. I love that style. So that slides in there, boom, 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 and you've got and I'll put more in the in this tuck spot than I did in this prototype. So that is that. I didn't decorate this one because it's probably just going to go into my reference journal at this point because yeah, I don't have any place to put it right now, and I need one for my reference journal. So that is that. So I'm going to set that aside, and then I made one for the Winter Wonder Journal number 2, and look at these, aren't they so precious? So that's one side, and this is the side that has the, let me take the paper clip off there. And I love that it leaves some of that rust, the rusty paper clip. So these are the bits that are in, so let me pull out the journaling spot. So that's the journaling spot in this one. And then these are the little elements that I stuck in here for now. I'll probably put a couple more in there just because I can. Now, let me put this back in here. So again, it's really loose, really loosey-goosey. So it definitely needs something to secure it. You could also figure out how to make some kind of a closure on here, would be cool, but I just really wanted to show you the construction mainly. So we'll stick those back in there. So this will be for the Winter Wonder Journal number 2. I put a wax seal. It was just sitting up there in a little dish, so I thought, it's the perfect color, so we'll just go ahead and plop that on there. And so yeah, let me put this back on. And let's get going. So you guys have expressed an interest in me doing the whole process on camera, and so I am holding to that. It's uncomfortable for me because I like to have things planned. I like to be able to control the length of my videos, but we're going to do this. Probably what it's going to mean is I'm going to talk less. Some of you might be clapping. I don't know, because then I can cut out more things where there's idleness, and I can speed that piece of the video up a little bit to shorten the whole video. And I'll also, if I'm gluing or I didn't select any bits to decorate yet, so I'll probably pause the video, grab some of that stuff when we get to that point, and then we'll continue on. So for supplies, I have my Bearly Arts Precision Glue, Vintage Photo Archival ink, which you guys, if you watch me, you know this is pretty much the only ink I use. It's a permanent archival, so I love it. I've got a rusty paper clip, my Fabri-Tac, scissors and a bone folder, and such. The envelope that I'm using, whoops, I didn't even get a ruler to tell you what the measurements of this envelope are. So this measures 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. Now I get these at Hobby Lobby, and I get them for 40% off when they go on sale, which it seems like it's like at least once a month, sometimes more than that. They go on sale really, really often. So this is the envelope that we're going to be using. I wanted to do this one, so you might have noticed on this one, these are not preferred by me. I like the cut on this envelope, but the last batch I bought from Hobby Lobby, they were these ones, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. It's structurally no different, but it's just, I like this shape, so I wanted to stick with that here. So I've got a bunch of papers here. These are digitals from Chapter 1 papers. Yvonne, I hope that you're okay with these papers. I'm adding some of these elements into your journal because I just really feel like it goes with some of the stuff that I'm doing. But this is, I believe, the French Florals kit. If you haven't checked out Chapter 1 papers, you guys, they are amazing. Amazing. They were some of the very first ones that I really fell in love with when I started doing some journal making. So we've got some bits that can go in and on there, but I'm going to set those aside because we do not need them yet. So I selected a bunch of paper here. I think I'm canceling this one out on this project. It just doesn't feel right to me, so I'm going to toss that over there. And then I know that I want this to be one of the bases, I believe. Yes. And I'm leaning towards this one for the other side of the envelope just because it feels like it goes with this better than this one, even though it's still got the teal in it to pull that out. But I also like that this is already divided, which would be really cool on a pocket. But I also like the envelope thing here. I think I'm going to go for this one. So I did resize these just so I could get the images to fit better on my size envelope. I think they're standard. When I send them to print, they're 97%. I just changed them to 90%, slightly smaller. Well, you can see it right here because one of them I did apparently resize and one of them I didn't. So not much of a difference. So I've got my trimmer over here. I'm not going to be bringing it over on camera. It's my precision trimmer, and it's huge. It's absolutely huge. So, and I'm going to move my mouse so that I don't stop my video. So let's get going because that was, 9 minutes of yakking. So you do want to kind of decide this side with the opening in the envelope is the one where you're going to have your tuck spot. So you want to be kind of thinking about if you want a particular paper on that side because that's where the tuck is going to be as well. So I'm feeling like I want this one on this side. I'm just kind of eye-spying it to see. And I'll explain this in a second. Yeah, so that should be good. So I want to tell you why I'm pointing that out. So on this one, in order to have the tuck spot be near the flap, I cut off I cut off part of this. So I just designated a smidgen of that and I trimmed it off so that I could have a straight edge here so that I'd have room to get things into the pocket from this angle. So that's the thinking there. So we're going to do that as well. So what I was eye-spying here is I wanted to make sure I actually have enough to cover this whole thing. And we're going to try to create that seamless effect as well. So we're going to lose a lot of the blue flowers on our flat, but that's okay. So let's start with that. I'm going to set this one aside because we're not ready for it. And I'm just going to kind of move a few things. And what I do the cheaters, I call it the cheaters way, but I just kind of set my envelope on here and kind of I spy. I don't really need all this blank up here. I'd rather capture more of the flowers. So I'm just going to set this on here exactly to the edge. Sometimes I have to trim it off a little bit, okay? And I just use my pencil to make a line. Now I'm not going to make a line for the flap because I want that to be a separate cut piece because otherwise it creates a lot of bulk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my cutter and I'm going to cut this here and I'm going to trim that off there. Okay, there's our first piece. And I'm going to go ahead and erase that pencil line because I drew it on crooked apparently, because when I went to the cutter it was not straight. So easy to just erase that. Okay, so that's going to go on here. We're actually doing the harder part first because this is the, oh, it's too long. The other thing you could do is measure, like obviously this is a 5 1/4 inches. We'd want to go slightly smaller than that. So let's see how close we got in width. Yeah, we're right on the nose for width. So height, I believe, was 7 1/4 inches, 7 1/4. So how did we do on that? I'm not a measurer generally, so 7 1/4. It's just slightly off. So I'm going to trim just a smidge off the bottom there. I mean, like really a 1/16 of an inch or something like that. So again, giving you the raw form here. So you don't want it to be over, and you don't want it to be quite to this fold where the envelope is. So, oh, we have to cut this down. Completely forgot about that. No worries, okay? No worries. So what I want to do is I want to make a line here because I want to trim off a little bit of this bit of the envelope. I'm going to switch rulers because that one doesn't really have a straight edge here for me to measure against. So let me get my zero gravity ruler. I'm just going to butt it right up there and I'm going to mark that. I think I want a little bit more, maybe about there. Okay. Just going to make a pencil mark here and here. Okay, we're going to trim that off. It's not super important to get that exactly straight in terms of the amount on each side. You just want to have a border here, so this paper can auto correct that if we need it to. So now what we need to establish is I want a piece of paper to fill this section. So from this score line of the envelope to the where I just cut, I need another sliver of paper to cover that because I don't want to see that brown. That's just my personal preference. So I'm just going to put this up to it and making sure that's not binding, and I'm going to make a pencil mark here, okay, like that. And I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. All right. Like so. If it's not exact, I'm not going to worry about it. You know what I say. What do I say, folks? What do I say? Perfection is not at play in the studio. Okay, so there's that. And so let's go ahead and glue as we go because I want you to see a linear process without a lot of interruption. So I'm going to ink this all up on the front side. I did ink the back, or print on the back, just because I wasn't really sure what I was going to use for what in terms of, you know, what I was going to back the envelopes with. Okay. So I want to show you the linear process, which is why, and I apologize if I repeated myself. I started to talk and then I stopped because I want to be able to cut some of this out. So so the idea is here, we're gonna glue as we go, because I want you to see the process step by step. So what I like to do is put this piece on first. So you just want to measure, you want to look and make sure that you've got it going the right direction. So that's going to be seamless. I'm just going to put some Fabri-Tac on the back of this, and I would recommend Fabri-Tac or a silicone glue, because you're going to want to move things a little bit if you don't get them exactly where you want them. That's just my recommendation. I buy mine at Joann's when I can get a 40% off coupon. So, like, I'll usually go in and I'll buy two and I'll pay half price for one and full price for the other, as I usually buy two at a time. Go through it quite fast. So I'm going to just turn that over, and I'm going to put it right there. I want it to make sure that it clears that lip. Okay, so I'm gonna, yeah, it's perfect. It's clearing it just perfectly. Okay, give that a good press. I just want to make sure that nothing's hung up there. That's perfect. Could not be better. Awesome. So now, in order to make this a pocket, we want to make sure we don't get any glue here. We're just going to put glue all over here. So I'm not going to put it on the back of my paper, as I've done live before. Here we go. And make sure that if you've turned it like I just did, that you get everything back lined up, so that, and then when we turn this over, we're going to make sure that we get it directionally in the right place. So you're just going to lay this down, okay? And we're going to try to butt it right up to that edge so that it looks very, very seamless. So perfect. Look at that. Could not be better. And just make sure that you don't have anything binding there. So I'm just going to slide my hand in there and then just give that all a good press. It's Fabri-Tac, so it could move, so you want to be holding it firm. Okay, and so let me show you the trick for the flap. I do not like to cut these, and so I'm just going to set this on here. Okay, and what I should do is get a piece of washi tape, and I'm just going to try to line that up right there. Okay, and I'm going to try to actually, I'm just going to ink this edge. Okay, sorry, that's confusing. I'm just going to ink that whole edge, because that's the only edge I won't be able to get to. I'm going to glue this on, and I'm going to ink it afterwards. We just won't see as much of a border as we would the other pieces, but that's, I'd far rather be correct than what did I just say? Like, it's hard for me to cut around these, let me just say. I did do it on the prototypes, and it was not fun. Alrighty, again, make sure that if you moved your envelope that you get it back in position, and then we want to very carefully place this down so that we get this one leaf lined up, because that's where I can see that it's supposed to meet, like so. Give that a press before we start cutting on it. This is the easiest way, in my opinion, to do the flaps. So, but of course you do you. So I'm going to just trim this off. There we go. Not too shabby. Look at that. That's a seamless piece of paper. I love it. I love it. Okay, let's ink that up really quick, and then we're going to move to the other side. We'll come back to this opening and decide what we want to do in there, but it's nice and open. It doesn't look all that great if you look inside, because you can see the envelope and whatever, but who's going to be looking in there? I'm not going to tell anybody if you don't. Okay, so we're going to flip it over. Now this is directionally, this is the right side, so I want to make sure when I flip it over that I do not move that, because that's pretty important. This is going to be super easy though, because even though we're going to cut it at this mark, it's all the same piece of paper, which I'm liking, so we're going to continue with this. I had second thoughts briefly, but I'm going to go ahead and actually let me ink up this flap just so you guys can see it. Uh-oh. we got some binding there. I should have checked that. Not going to be a big deal because it's going to be sewn in the signature, but let me just press that out. I do encourage you to burnish whenever possible. We got some oozing glue there. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so what I want to do is ink that just so you can see it while I'm marking this out. Perfect. Okay, make sure again that I did not turn it upside down. And I'm going to just put this right here. And I'm moving it down so I can see the top. And then I can shift it for the next measurement, the next cheating measurement. So I'm going to mark it right there. Okay. And then I'm going to move this up. Oh man, I was off camera, guys. I'm so sorry. And I'm going to move it back up to the top. I need to pick it up because I can't quite see that without getting my camera or my head under the camera. Just going to go like that. So we've got a little bit of a border there, if possible. And then I'm going to mark it down here. And let me just trim this real quick. Okay, so that is our base piece here. So again, in order to stay seamless, we're going to go ahead and ink this up and glue it on. Don't you worry, the secret journal spot is going to come up here next. It's super, super easy. So you might be wondering, why am I covering both envelopes? And I haven't talked about that hidden journaling spot situation. So, and so I'm keeping in mind that this was my inside edge. So I'm just going to check, make sure I didn't move it. That's the right direction. This doesn't matter because it's not directional, but like so. So let's go ahead and glue that on. Have no worries because I don't have any envelope opening on that one. You can ink around all the your other edges later. It's not that important in my opinion. Just going to place that down. So see how accurate that is? It's just super, super fast and easy to do it that way rather than measuring and cutting to the measurements of the envelope. I like to do that. Okay. So there's that. And then I'm keeping in mind also that when I cut this off, this was the edge that was here, right? So now I'm going to line that up and do the same thing with my flap. I'm going to ink this edge. Obviously, I'm not going to use the whole length of it, but just ink the whole thing. Okay, and I'm going to put my glue on the envelope. Line that up. I glue there. Let me try to get that scrubbed out. Okay, so now I'm going to just, I should be up at the top here because I can see the separation of those flowers. That is so stinking easy. There we go. Okay, give that a second to set. I'm going to bend it here just to make sure that we don't, oh, it's way over. So I'm going to, so see that edge that we've got? Hopefully it will focus. I'm going to move that down because I don't want that much hanging over. So again, with Fabri-Tac, you have the ability to do that. Whereas with a white glue, you don't have as much freedom to adjust. So there we go. Easy peasy. Perfect. Get that little top edge here with my fussy cut scissors. It's a little bit easier. I've got some glue oozing out there. I actually got some glue on this flap. I'm not happy about that, but I should have wiped my table off. There we go. Okay. I can go ahead and ink the rest of this up. So perfect. Not that we're looking for perfection, but it is nice when everything lines up beautifully. And I love this, and I'm actually feeling like this one would be really pretty to put a pocket on because we don't have anything else going on. Oh, we have our hidden journaling spot. Forget that. Okay, so this is the spot that we're in right now. So now we need to make our hidden journaling spot. Now, I'm choosing to do it on the side of the envelope You could pre-plan and do it at the top. It would be tricky because of the flap. I'm not sure how you would do that, but you could definitely give that a try. It's also up to you how much of it you take off. I think I kind of want to take off, well, I don't want to take off too much. Probably going to take off an inch. I'm going to take off an inch, but you could do it. You don't want to make it too narrow because otherwise your journaling spot pullout is not going to have any stability to it. So I think a 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch is a good measurement. So I'm going to just, I'm going to make a mark since it's, again, measurements are hard, especially when I go to my cutter. So I'm going to just mark that right there. Doesn't have to be precise. And I'm going to go to my trimmer, trim it all the way down. Perfect. So I did realize I didn't pull anything to put on this, so that's a bummer. For my inside spot of my journaling spot, didn't print anything. So the other thing I like is I don't want to ink this edge and I don't want to ink this edge because I want it to look seamless. I want it to be invisible. So if you ink it, it's not going to be invisible, but if you don't ink it, it's going to look like it never was cut, which I think is the beauty of that. So I think what I'm going to do on this one, it's not what I wanted to do. Sometimes I like to put a print. Oh, you know what? No, that's too big. I usually like to put something a little bit decorative on the front of it, but I'm just going to pull a piece of that same paper. This is from Ruby and Pearl. I've been using this background paper a lot lately. It's from her Beautiful Birds kit. So we're going to go ahead and use it to make our hidden journaling spot. So I'm going to trim off these white edges so that we can go on. And so then now we can turn this because when it goes back on, it's going to be fine. But I just basically bring this up here. Let me make sure I'm in camera, and I just I'm going to hang this off this edge a little bit because I don't want this to be the full width of this piece. So, which, I mean, maybe if I did it a little bit less, it might be a little bit snugger. Maybe we'll make a little bit less of a space than I've been. Okay, so I don't need to mark that edge. So you can see I've got about 1/8 of an inch there hanging over of the topper. And so I'm going to go in about that. I'm going to make a mark here. Okay, I hope you guys can see that. And about the same distance from that top. So then I'm going to cut this way on that line, at that mark rather. So there's that. And so it's going to fit in here like that. Okay. And we can go ahead and do that and then cut off the excess in a second. So what I did, the easiest way to do this was just to dump some Fabri-Tac in there, just all over. You don't need it to be a ton, just enough to secure that piece. I'm going to go all the way to the corners, like that. And then I'm just going to slide my paper in. You could ink this first, but the part that we're sticking in isn't going to show. And so I'm just going to slide this in here, okay, like so. And then I'm going to push it all the way in, and I'm going to adjust it so that I've got this same amount on the top and bottom. Again, critical that you use Fabri-Tac for this, otherwise you're going to be stuck. Not a huge issue, to be honest, because of the style of hidden journaling spot we're doing. Give that a good press, like that. And let's go ahead and bring this back over so we know it's going to go this way, right? Because that's where our flowers are. Beautiful. And you can see we got pretty even. Look at that. It's perfect. Perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to pull this out and just kind of line it up this way so we can see the top and make a mark. Now on this one, I think because it's a plain piece of paper, I think I will come out to here. On the prototypes, I think on one of them I only went to here, but I'd like a little bit of a bigger space here. So actually I'm going to move that up so that I can make a mark closer to the top, if that makes sense. Come on. Okay, make a mark here. Actually, just shy of that, because I like that kind of layered look too. When you'll have a dark line here, a dark line here, a dark line there. It looks really, really grungy, and you know, Matt, that's my thing. Go ahead and ink this up front and back. This is a nice journaling spot. Really, really nice. I love this size of envelope. It's just about perfect. Okay. I'm feeling so good. We're only 35 minutes in. Woohoo! Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and slide this in here. Oh, got a little stickage there. And again, we don't want to ink that because otherwise it's not going to look invisible anymore. And slide that in there. Okay. It's going to stick all the way through. Come on. There we go. Like so. I actually think I want a little bit more off of that because I want, yeah, no, it doesn't really matter. It's a little off colored, the paper here. So I think I'm going to trim a little bit off and I'm going to round those corners just because I want it to look a little bit different. So let me just cut a smidge more off. Okay, so slide that back in there so we can get a look at that. There we go. Oh, that's much better. I like that. Okay, so now we're going to do some decorating. So I'm still debating on this part. So this is where our seam is. So I have this envelope from the kit, and I thought it would be fun to use it here. Oh, it would fit, because once we fold these in, it will fit. So I think I'm going to put this envelope on this side. That's what I'm going to do. So I do not, these lines on this digital are not very clear for the fold, so I'm going to wing it and see what happens. I'm also working on a 49-pound paper as opposed to my normal 65-pound because I didn't want to use a heavy paper to cover the envelopes, and so I just printed everything on that paper. Oh, that looked pretty good. There's my bone folder. Okay, we'll make this into a pocket, I think is what we'll do. And except you lose all that beautifulness, so maybe we'll make a pocket and put this in the pocket. That might be prettier, because I don't want to lose that. Bummed about that. You know what? I'm going to save myself the trouble, and I'm going to leave this as a writing spot. So I'm going to cut off the flaps, and I'm just going to fold it up. So when you don't want to solve the problem at hand, you just improvise, right? Right? We'll just trim that off right at that line. It's the digital's crooked because of the digital, you know, it's an original document that they've scanned. So that looks really cool. So we've got one fold there, got a little bit of a hangover there. Just trim that off. Perfect. And then we can just fold it on this other line. Should be pretty straightforward. Really, really hard to see. Yikes. Yikesies. That's okay. It's not straight, so we'll trim that off. It could have been just my cutting ability. It's kind of doing it in a hurry to get ready for the video. It's a work day, so I'm trying to get some stuff done. Okay, that's really, really cute. Okay, let's ink it up. Okay, I love that. That was a good improvisation. So that's going to go in a pocket on the front of this, kind of like that. So let's pick a piece of paper to make a pocket out of. Got a few things over here that might actually work kind of as they are. Like this one would make a great pocket, really vintagey, and it's got some of that pink color in it. Look at it's like a wax seal mark. So I think we'll use that. So I'm going to have to trim it, obviously. So I'm going to cut it down this the fold line that's represented in the digital itself, and just kind of go like that. And let's make sure what piece we want to use. Yeah, we don't want that to be sideways, so we use this. It's not straight, so I'll have to even that out. So I'm going to cut off a little bit off of this edge. So I'm just going to cut it. I'm not going to, I have to make sure I have a straight edge to start with, though. That's the problem. Hold on. Okay, so now I know I've got a straight corner here. Oh, I should probably even up the bottom as well since I'm over here. And then we can trim off the more over on the other side. So it can go all the way over here. And so I just need to just trim it to there. Pretty good. Sorry, I can't bring the cutter in. It's just, it takes up all my desk. Not width-wise, so I have a lot of space here, but I don't have a lot of space here. So now I can't, I'm not going to put a thumb notch on that because, well, I can put a small one, and I don't want to affect that black seal, so I'm just going to put a little divot just to indicate it's a pocket, if I can get that in there, like about there. Oh yeah, that worked out okay. Ink that up. Of course, anytime you see me do a pocket, you could always gusset it, but I don't want this pocket to be loosey-goosey because I don't want things to flip out of it. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that's the right size. It's perfect. So we're going to glue it on 3 sides. So I'm going to actually pull that out so that I can see my edge. And I've got my Bearly Arts, my preferred glue for this purpose. Awesome. Put that pocket on there. I did not plan to make a pocket, but this is the perfect digital for it. I'm going to move it up just a smidge because I like to see that double layer here on the bottom and the sides. So just rubbing that out. Perfect. We're going to just stick this in here carefully. Oh. Do as I say, don't do as I do. Do as I say. There we go. Actually, just take that out. So that'll go in the pocket. And then this is another little card. I think this would be really pretty. And then there's like a couple floral cards, so I think this one would be okay. Maybe we'll make a tag out of that. What do you think? It's not very thick though. I like my tags to be thicker, so I think what I'll do is get a piece of paper to back it. So let me find one. Okay, so I decided to go ahead and switch to a voiceover. The video got very, very long, and I really don't want to keep you unnecessarily. As I began to embellish towards the end, it got a little bit lengthy, so I just decided to go ahead and flip it and do a voiceover. So here again, we're just backing that piece that we want to make into a tag. And I'm going to move somewhat slowly in my talking because I want to remember what I was talking about in real time so that I can make sure that I say those things, because I know there was some important information that I was talking about as we were going. So, and here just obviously cutting my tag shape, and I just use a gift card or credit card and just cut a template, and then you just got that ready to go. And here I think I was talking about I wasn't guaranteeing that I wouldn't add more embellishing after I turned the camera off. And I can't remember, because 24 hours has passed since I did this, whether or not I did add more. I think I did add a few other bits, but you'll be able to see that in the photos at the end. And so here I decided to go ahead and take that ephemera piece. This is again from the French Floral kit from chapter 1 papers, and it had a couple of beautiful fussy cuts, and then those little kind of framed pieces, and I'm going to cut the center out of one of them. I wasn't really in love with how that went, but sometimes things don't turn out the way that we want them to, but that does not mean that they're not beautiful and perfectly fine and functional. So, I don't remember what I was doing here. I got away from the camera. Oh, looking for my, I think this is gauze or cheesecloth that I coffee dyed. So I'm going to put the embellishment there on the top of that, on the pocket. I'm focusing the glue on the center there because I'm hoping that that's going to be enough to hold that cheesecloth down without putting a bunch of glue on the base of that pocket. That was the theory there anyway. And here is where I was going to talk about the art journaling. I had a question from one of the subscribers, sweet subscriber, who commented and said she went back to my playlist and saw the video where I made this art journal, and she had made a beautiful comment about how it, the imperfection makes it part of the mystery and the fun. But I'm telling you guys, I can't work with this journal. My pages are upside down. The back of the cover is upside down. And so what I'm going to do, I'm hoping that you'll give me the liberty to do this. I'm going to create another one. Still going to do it in the same style in terms of the scrappy paper and the uneven paper, kind of messy paper, and come back to you. And we're going to actually be working in 3 different art journals, because I want to show you some techniques with watercolor or other fluid water mediums, and it works best on a paper that can handle that more. So, but I'll be talking to you a little bit more about that in the future. So I was just debating here over which one I wanted to use. I did end up fussy cutting that one. And then I do go off camera. I think I cut out this part. I went off camera to look at my wax seals, because I do have an oval wax seal, and I hoped I had one already made, but I did not. So we ended up doing something a little bit different than I had planned. But this is where it felt like it got a little bit wonky, because I don't like doing a video and then having to stop or pause the camera or cut pieces out because I have to go find something because I didn't have it prepared. And so I'm going to still honor the request of the subscribers and do some of these real-time videos in terms of not cutting anything out other than obviously like gluing or drying and things like that, but let you see kind of the thought process behind why I choose what I do when I'm decorating. So it's hard to kind of explain, but I'm hoping as you watch it, it will make more sense. So here I'm just looking for a bit of ephemera to go behind that window. Initially I thought I could make that window into a little tuck spot, but I did not end up doing that. I ended up just taping this faux stamp on the back of it, and then I just glued it all down in one piece. Oh, here I was going to try to use it, I guess, by itself. I'm telling you guys, this was a disaster in my opinion in terms of my process. I'm a very linear creator. I have things in order. I'm very organized, and I don't like that sense of not really knowing what I want to do, but again, bringing you along for the ride. So this is the point where I believe I ended up just deciding that I was going to glue that stamp on the back and just create a little framed window there. So I'm just going to reach for my clear tape and tape that down, because I want to make sure it doesn't shift when I glue the piece down to the flap there. I really love the versatility of this project. I like the flaps, and I like thinking about, or I was thinking about as I was filming, how nice it is that that flap is going to be appearing somewhere else in the journal, because the envelope will be sewn in, which is part of the beauty of that kind of process. So it's going to be really fun to have those elements show up farther in the journal than where the envelope itself will be. So just deciding on a pocket here, I just reached into my drawer. I didn't want to cover up. I wanted to put a pocket, but I didn't want to cover it up with something solid because the image is so beautiful. So I just grabbed a piece of scrap vellum and cut that down, and we're going to use that as a pocket. And I think it turned out really, really well. I'm going to also cut a thumb notch after I get it all trimmed up. And as you can see, I'm going only from the edge of the opening, the cut opening, to the opening of the hidden journal spot part there. So And then I'm going to go ahead and do my thumb notch. I have to put paper behind it, otherwise my punch will not punch through vellum. So that's why that's happening there. I've probably explained that before, I'm not sure. And so, and then we are going to fuss around here in a moment with an envelope from the kit as well. Because it's a vintage image, the lines of the digital were really kind of skewed. And so I really struggled with trying to get it folded appropriately. And I'm not great with my scoreboard, to be honest. The little one kind of throws me off. If I use my big scoreboard, I do better. But you're probably going, I can't remember if I cut it out. I don't think I did, because I wanted to leave everything in that was important. So you're going to see me fuss a little bit with that here in a moment. Just picked another part of that other image that I showed you in the beginning that I was thinking about using for the bases, and going and using it as a journal card right there in that pocket. I believe it was absolutely perfect. And then this is another piece of the ephemera, just a small postcard looking piece. So super fun. And I believe that I did stick something extra in here. Now that I'm thinking about it, I just stuck an extra piece of ephemera. And so now we're just looking at the pocket, or the other flap there. And I can't remember what I did here, honestly. You know what? My brain is old and I already forgot. We're getting near to the end of the video here, so I am just putting a wax seal. I did find one in a pale pink that I could go ahead and use to put on the flap there. So guys, thank you so much for stopping by, and I'm hoping that the voiceover isn't troublesome to you. Give me your feedback, but I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.